welcome to CSI Iowa. I'm your host, Bob Montserrat. Sure glad you joined us tonight. Tonight I have a very special guest. My guest is Dr. Henry Lee, and most people worldwide should know who Dr. Henry Lee is. He's one of the world-famous international forensic scientists. And of course, being on CSI Iowa, this show deals quite a bit with forensic sciences. And so I wanted to get the foremost expert on this show. And so that's what we have arranged. And it's been a long time coming, but welcome to the show, Dr. Lee.
Hi, Bob. How are you doing?
Doing very well. And I know that we're a long distance between each other, but through the power of Skype, we are able to make this connection. So I'm very glad that you were, and I know you are a very busy person because you travel all around the world giving lectures and solving cases and working cases, and obviously it's something that you love to do. Am I correct in that?
You are absolutely correct. And as a matter of fact, today I start my day 4:30 near East Coast time. Haven't stopped yet.
Wow. And is that your normal schedule? You're up very early and you stay up late?
Yeah, usually I put 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. You probably know I already retired 4 times, but just so much work and so interesting. That's why I keep me going.
Well, it really does keep you going. And I guess the question I have is, you must have a great nutritional plan and a very good exercise plan to keep you going the way you are. Am I correct on that?
You are half correct. Actually, nutrition is one part of it. But most importantly, you have to keep your mind, your heart young, and always content happy with what you can do. Every day, if we can help the world, help the society a little bit, and then you're happy. Don't worry about win or lose, or how much money you're making. As long as you make a contribution to this world, you're going to be young.
Wow, awesome. Yeah, so you said you've retired 4 times. So how many retirements are you going to go through before you really retire?
That's the question my wife asked him. And she said, why can you retire like some other and just relax? I said, well, just think about each of us
yeah.
in this earth. Even you live 100 years old, you only have 36,000 some days to work. We slept probably half of the time. Then we'll eat and drink or wasted about another quarter of time. So you think about it, a human life, we only have about maximum 10,000 days to work to make something different in this earth. We all come here once. If we can make sure our life, make it a little bit different, make this world a little better, and that's all life about.
Well, you have thought a lot about that. I mean, I can tell when you say we only have about 10,000 days, that seems like a very short time to make a big difference or a big impact.
Yeah, that's each of us only have 10,000 days. So if you don't use a day in full capacity, you lost that day. That day, doesn't matter what you do. You can read a book or listen to your show or do some work in the house or do some work in the laboratory. Basically, you make something happen for that day.
Yeah, so
just don't waste it. Yeah.
Right. So you basically are saying that you never are bored. You're never bored.
Yeah, never got bored. All my life, I've been in law enforcement forensic science field for about 50-some years now. Never have a boring day.
So, let's go back to when you were young. Was this something, many times people when they are young, they feel like they want to be a policeman or a fireman or, one of those occupations. Is that something that in your youth that you had a desire to be a policeman or a fireman or something like that?
Excellent question, Bob. Excellent question. A lot of mystery writer, a lot of movie producer think when I was young, I want to become one of the top police officer, want to be a detective, or top forensic scientist. But today I have a confession to make. When I was in high school, I wanted to become a basketball player.
Really?
Yes, indeed. And I even made an appointment to see the coach. When the coach looked at me for a moment, say, "Son, when you grow another 2 feet, come back to see me." I took literally, every night I try to stretch myself. Hopefully I can grow a couple more inches. I'm 5'8". One night I realized that's an impossible dream. I don't have Michael Jordan's chromosome, nor I have Yao Ming's DNA. It's impossible for me to become 7 feet.
Exactly.
That night, I realized each of us have a limit. Why don't I do something I really like to become a police officer? And so that's how I become a police officer in Taiwan.
So it was your second choice.
Right. That's actually my third, fourth choice. And because in Taiwan that time, the college, university have a national test. They, according to your score, assign you to a college. So you can have 1, 2, 3, 4 different choices. And I was assigned to Maritime University, supposedly better score to get to Maritime University to become a sea captain. Except the Maritime University, the tuition pretty high. My family pretty poor. I was growing up in a single parents family. When I was 5, 6 years old, my father passed away, died in a ship accident. We used to be very rich. After my father passed away, from very wealthy family, would become very poor. My mother single-handed have to raise 13 kids. She did not even graduate from high school. That's why people asking me who I respect the most in the world. I said my mother. Who I scare the most, same thing, my mother. And so when I got to time to select a university college, I just don't want to add more burden to my family.
Sure.
Taiwan have 2 university free. One is military college, one is a police college. So that's how I entered police college, because no tuition. Not really I want to become a cop. But when I enrolled in the police college, I fall in love with the profession. That's how I became a police officer.
But can you still play basketball? I guess that's my question.
Oh, yes. But later, of course, I start practice Kung Fu and karate and jiu-jitsu. So I'm pretty good in that. And I did not get number 1. I got number 2 in hand-to-hand combat Kung Fu competition.
Wow.
So once you decide to put your mind into it, you can really achieve. The basketball play, again, it's not a fair game. You should have a different class, 5 feet tall, 6 feet, or 7 feet above. So this way, it's a more fair competition. Right now, the taller people, you have advantage. But Kung Fu, they have different class. So as long as you fall into this weight, just like boxing, you have a chance.
Yeah. Okay. So do you still practice Kung Fu? I mean, do you still do that?
Only in the international Kung Fu competition, they asked me to be the honorary chairman. So usually I do a demonstration. But in recent year, my wife started warning me, say, "Hey, you're not young anymore. Bob, guess how old I am?"
Well, I've kind of cheated because I looked up a little bit.
I cheated.
You
okay?
look younger than your actual age.
Much younger. And yesterday I was talked to about a couple hundred high school students. I asked them to guess because nobody cheated. And you won't believe it. And the answer from the audience, between 27 to 53.
Wow.
No one guessed me correctly. Actually, I'm at 75, on my way to 76.
Yeah, you don't look it. No, it's probably because you played a lot of basketball when you're early age. And because you're an expert in Kung Fu.
Recently, people are asking me this issue. And actually, there are 6 different ways to measure somebody's age. Do you know that?
No.
Chronological, that's your date of birth. It's the most reliable, most unreliable way. They have a psychological age. You have to feel young. They have an intellectual age. You have to study. Of course, you know you're an excellent forensic scientist. You have to have an experience age. Because you know everything you do, did a lot in toxicology. That's why you experience age-wise, you are much older than your actual age. Then you have a physical age. Physical age, I'm much younger than my chronological age. I'm still strong, never got sick. You have a physiological age. Some people, when they're born, have a genetic disease, even they're 16. But their actual physiological age is much older than some people, maybe 70 years old, still active and practice. We see a lot of people still play golf and tennis in their old age. So a person's real age is a total of the 6 age added together divided by 6.
Okay, so what is your not your physical age, but what is your actual age? Well, how should I ask that? When you divide your age by 6, I mean, I guess that's your age then, huh?
Well, another age nobody talk about. It's your feeling. Someday you get up, you feel so good, and someday you say, "Holy smoke, the whole day you feel old," right?
So what's your feeling age?
My feeling age every day is young. I can't wait to get up and I can't wait to get to work. So a lot of my colleagues asking me, "Why drive you? You're so happy every day come to work." I say, "I'm so happy every day I can do another day, full day. I can learn, I can work." And a lot of people in the world doesn't have the freedom and choice like us. So that's why I feel young.
Yeah, so that is awesome. Now, I first met you years ago, and you don't remember me because I was just one in a crowd, a face in a crowd, but it was 1990 at the FBI Academy. There was a symposium going on there. It was a disaster symposium.
Oh, yes. I remember you.
You do?
I have a good memory.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was a very good symposium. I remember it well, and I really appreciated what, you were one of the speakers.
A speech, right? I have to give a keynote talk that day.
Yeah, absolutely. I still have photos of that. So, anyway, what I want to get into, we're going to be taking a break pretty soon, but I want to talk about some of the, some of your work, some of the work that you do, and I find it to be very interesting. Of course, I'm in forensics myself. I supervise drug and toxicology section at the Iowa State Crime Laboratory, and I've been working in the laboratory for 35 years now, so I've got a little bit of experience. So That's
why your experience age is very, much older than a lot of forensic scientists and police officer, because you've been in the area so long. That's why people respect you, because your experience age, not your real age.
So you think people respect me, huh? That's great. I'm only kidding. All right, we'll come back. We're going to take a couple of minute break, and then we'll be back with Dr. Henry Lee, and this is CSI Iowa. See you in a minute.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
At the BrownellsPoliceStore.com, we specialize in a full line of duty gear for military, law enforcement, and security professionals. PoliceStore.com has a great selection of high-quality and dependable police supplies, all backed by Brownell's 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. The Brownells Training Group offers firearms training for military, police, professional security, and qualified citizens taught by professionals who are recognized for their knowledge and real experience. Check us out today at PoliceStore.com/CSI.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios. Listen, watch, chat. This is Webcast One Live. Programs on webcastonelive.com are brought to you in part by KDC Builders, building custom homes for how you live. KDC will take your dreams and turn them into reality. Go to our website, kdcbuilt.com, or call Hannah Inman at 515-975-9990. And Tom Coates and ConsumerCreditOfAmerica.com. Are you overwhelmed with mounted credit card debt and feel there's no way out? Well, there is. Call 1-800-955-5765 for Consumer Credit of America. That's ccofamerica.com.
Welcome back to CSI Iowa. Sure glad you joined us today. Today, my guest again is Dr. Henry Lee, one of the world's foremost forensic scientists, and it's just really an honor to have you on the show, Dr. Lee. Glad you decided that you fit us in your busy schedule, which is, as we've been talking about, a very busy schedule. So thanks for being on with us.
Well, thank you, Bob, for having me. I feel terrible about it. We've been talking about almost a year now. As a matter of fact, I just got back from a lecture case consultation trip from Asia. And this week, we have 4 different training classes going on. I've been busy all day. And now Connecticut time, it's East Coast time, it's almost 6 o'clock. And I'm so happy having the chance finally got on your show.
Yeah, well, tell me, what time do you normally go to bed? I'm just curious.
Usually I go to bed about midnight. And usually I get up about 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Wow.
So that's start my day.
Wow, so 4.5 hours of sleep.
Yeah, about 4.5, 5 hours. And that usually, I've been doing this for almost 40, 50 years now. So you kind of get used to it.
Yeah, but you know what? You're getting more time in, more waking time than almost anybody else. That's good.
Well, and while you think about it, then each of us, and doesn't matter, you are the police chief, commissioner, or crime laboratory director, or bench people, same thing. We only have about 3,780 some hours per year. And average American only work about 1,600 hours per year. We sleep about 3,700 hours. We eat and drink about 1,000 hours. And we meaningful chore about 700 some hours. Waste of time, go for about 2,000 hours. Think about it, right?
Yeah.
So how many hours you actually work?
Yeah, I know. Only a scientist would spend time thinking about all those things.
We scientists are crazy, right? We think
exactly. So, you were a police officer when you started out, and so where did you start in the field of forensics?
Okay, that's a long time ago.
Right.
In 1960, I already became a police officer, and quickly I rose the rank, become a captain in charge of investigation in Taiwan Police Department. That time, early days, we saw.
Let's go back. Yep. Okay, well, we're going to try to reconnect with Dr. Lee.
Can you hear me?
We had a little glitch here.
Yeah. So that time, I found out we actually solve more cases than actual cases. So I realized a lot of innocent people may be forced into confession. So that's how I got interested in forensic science.
Now, I'm assuming you started out probably doing crime scene investigations.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Early days in Taiwan, basically, we start crime scene investigation, and we do fingerprint, shoe print, or any so-called pattern evidence. We do some firearm examination, wound interpretation. So basically, physical pattern. As far as scientific end, we only do very little bit of a so-called presumptive test. That's how I made a decision, come to United States in 1964, and decide to pursue my study in forensic science and to get my doctorate degree.
Okay, and so the area of forensic science, then you expanded once you came here.
Yes.
Into other areas.
Yeah, 1965, I entered United States. I worked at the NYU Medical Center as a technician, because that time when I come to United States, I don't even speak English. Me and my wife together, we saved some money, about $50 US dollars in our pocket. Come to this land of opportunity. So, of course, first thing, you have to learn to survive, to find a job. So I worked 3 jobs. Work at the NYU Medical Center as a technician. Then work in the restaurant, wait on table in the evening. And weekend, I teach Kung Fu self-defense to make enough money to support the family and pay tuition. Luckily, I got the scholarship. So I graduated from John Jay, quickly got a bachelor's degree in forensic science. But that's early days. They don't have a PhD in forensic science.
Right.
So I'm lucky working at NYU Medical Center, met an individual and who made the differences in my life. He later got the Nobel Prize.
Okay, we're dropping out on our Skype connection. So we're trying to reconnect with Skype. We're having difficulties here, but that's the way it goes.
And my PhD in molecular biology. So I was really lucky, and I can work and study together. So 1975, after I got my doctorate degree, I decided to come back to forensic science. Of course, my advisor wanted me to stay in molecular biology. I still remember his comment about forensic science. He said he never heard of a field called forensic science, because in 1970s, forensic science, that had still so rudimentary, nobody really know about it, and doesn't like today, even elementary student knows what the forensic scientist does for a living. I still remember early days in early 70s, I goes to functions or parties. I try to avoid the confusion. People asking me, what profession you in? I say, I'm a teacher, professor. And they say, what subject are you teaching? So when I tell them about forensic science, they all scratch their head. Well, very interesting. You must. Yeah. I say, yes. They think I'm working foreign affairs. Some even say, you know a lot about a tree, because first 4 letters like a forest and forestry. And of course, early days, nobody knows what the forensic scientist does. So I work at the University of New Haven. We started a program, the first program at University of New Haven in 1975. Then in 76, the late Governor Grasso of Connecticut asked me to join the state service, become the first chief criminalist, lab director for Connecticut State Police. So since that, I've been in forensic field just probably longer than you, a little bit longer than you. You have 35 years, and I have about 40-some years, a couple of years more than you.
Yeah, you've got a few years on me. I'll have to catch up sometime on that.
Yeah, but I also have more hair than you, too.
Yes, absolutely. And it's real hair, right?
Yeah, you can blow it, a real hair.
Yeah.
A real color, too.
You got good genes. What could I say? Well, that's for me. It's worry, over doing the forensic work and all that.
I know.
But have you also been called a criminologist?
Yes, and there are a lot of different terms. I've been calling so many different different names, and some even call me a criminologist. And of course, the worst ever call say I'm a criminal. All right, you cannot pronounce criminalist or criminalistic, criminalistics, and that is a criminal. And of course, it's a differences. There are major differences in criminology, or criminal or criminalistics, and forensic science. Forensic science is a general term, encompass about 36 different specialty areas.
Oh yeah.
Such as forensic pathology, forensic odontology, anthropology, entomology. We even have forensic engineering, forensic psychology. Criminalistic is one of the area in forensic science which we basically study physical evidence. And of course, criminalistic area, we have 18 specialty area, such as drug and toxicology. That's one area. I basically involve in couple of different area. A lot of fingerprint examiners think I'm a fingerprint examiner. A lot of serologists think I'm a serologist. Of course, later we venture to DNA, and of course, crime scene study of crime scene reconstruction. That's one area of the criminalistics.
Yeah. Now, when you started the forensic field, you were a generalist. You did a little bit of everything, correct?
Exactly. We early days forensic scientists, we do everything. As a matter of fact, when I was started in Taiwan, we basically from autopsy to toxicology, drug test, everything, anything, you do it. And of course, come to United States when I started working at the Connecticut State Police Lab. We're generalists, basically from firearm to handwriting to serology. We do everything.
Right.
And over the year, become so specialized now. We have so many specialty area. When you concentrate one area, then you become a specialist. For example, a DNA scientist, they just basically doing DNA.
Right.
And a firearm examiner, early days, sometimes people they're doing ballistics.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, ballistic is a separate area of a firearm.
Right.
Ballistic is study the flight of a bullet in air, or ballistic trajectory. And firearm examination, which encompasses study the casing, sometimes gunshot residue. Most importantly, is compare the impression on the bullet and casing.
Right. Now, let me ask you: Did you get to be to a point of being a specialist? Did you specialize in any one particular forensic field?
Yes, my life I specialize in a lot of fields. As a matter of fact, I'm a certified latent print examiner. In my life, I did a lot of fingerprint work. Of course, later I became a serologist. As you probably know, I did a lot of research, a lot of writing, a couple of books, and hundreds of articles.
A couple of books? A couple? You're being modest.
Well, about co-author about 40-some books now. And of course, later when DNA in late 1989, that time, we're the first laboratory start implement DNA using casework too. So, of course, now, basically, I'm a forensic educator now. I spend most of my time training law enforcement officer.
Oh, that's just not as much fun, is it?
Yeah, a lot of time. Like this weekend, we have 4 different classes running in the institute. We have a homicide investigation class for detectives. Then we have a shooting reconstruction class. Then we have a crime scene documentation class. So different classes we're constantly running in our institute, provide training for seasoned detective or laboratory scientists. But we also have program for students interested in forensic science. We have a bachelor degree, a master degree. We also have a PhD degree, but the PhD degree is in criminology. You can have a concentration in forensic science.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Now we need to take another break, and when we take after our break, I want to get into asking you about how you actually work a case when a case is given to you. So when we come back, we'll be talking to Dr. Henry Lee about more of his work. You've been watching CSI Iowa on Webcast One Live. We'll see you in a minute.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
At the BrownellsPoliceStore.com, we specialize in a full line of duty gear for military, law enforcement, and security professionals. PoliceStore.com has a great selection of high-quality and dependable police supplies, all backed by Brownell's 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. The Brownells Training Group offers firearms training for military, police, professional security, and qualified citizens taught by professionals who are recognized for their knowledge and real experience. Check us out today at PoliceStore.com/CSI.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios. Listen, watch, chat. This is Webcast One Live. Programs on WebcastOneLive.com are brought to you in part by KDC Builders. Building custom homes for how you live. KDC will take your dreams and turn them into reality. Go to our website, kdcbuilt.com, or call Hannah Inman at 515-975-9990. And Tom Coates and ConsumerCreditOfAmerica.com. Are you overwhelmed with mounted credit card debt and feel there's no way out? Well, there is. Call 1-800-955-5765 for Consumer Credit of America. That's ccofamerica.com.
Welcome back to CSI Iowa. My guest tonight is Dr. Henry Lee, a world-famous forensic scientist, criminalist, but not a criminologist. And that's what we have determined tonight, that there are you have to differentiate a lot of these things. And I've been called a lot of names too, like you. And sometimes I just don't say anything. Sometimes I say, Dr. Lee, that I'm just a chemist or a biologist doing that work. Have you said that too?
No, I just take the opportunity to educate them. It's important to get this straight. So if the news reporter doesn't get this straight, then the public are going to mislead.
Well, if it's a news, I agree with you. If it's a news reporter, then I will say for sure what it was.
Right.
Now, let me ask you this question. When you have a case, and you've done a lot of high-profile cases in your experience, if somebody today says, okay, we have this particular case that we want you to investigate, Is it a team effort? Do you have a team that works with you? How does that happen?
Okay. In my life, in my career, I'm really lucky. Work with 46 country investigator. Investigate about over 8,000 some cases now. When I look back, it's so important to have a team. Investigation, it's a teamwork. For example, the tragedy of Massachusetts, you can see almost 9,000 investigator, police officer from FBI, from Massachusetts State Police.
Yes.
Connecticut will even send quite a few technical squad and a special team to assist them. So when we work on the case, like right now, we don't accept any fresh case. In other words, if the case just happened, usually the police department, they handle it. We become National Cold Case Center. In other words, those unsolvable cases, they can send to us. But in the past, when I in charge state police as the commissioner for state police, or before that, when I was the laboratory director, it's a different ballgame. So as the laboratory director, when a case they send to me, I have no choice, have to do it. So usually when they call and middle of the night, most of the crime happen middle of the night, as you know that. So sometimes I have to go 3-4 crime scenes at night to respond to those crime scenes, because so important, the physical evidence is from the crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
If the scene you don't secure properly, if you contaminate the evidence, subsequent laboratory examination become useless. If the evidence at the crime scene you don't recognize, did not collect it, you miss that piece of evidence, then that evidence will never become evidence. So that's why so important is the first step as a forensic scientist. We can assist in the crime scene, make sure the crime scene was properly processed, make sure the evidence was collected. And many times when we got to crime scene, we can solve the issue right away. Do some examination at the crime scene, you don't have to package the evidence, transmit the evidence, send to the laboratory, and laboratory unpack the evidence, inventory the evidence, spend a lot of time, and build a big backlog. So if we can bring the lab to the scene, you can at least cut half of the unnecessary type of evidence submitted to the laboratory.
Right, but
so, yeah.
But many times in your case, they send you evidence that has been collected without you being there. Correct?
Yeah, many times. Of course, over the year, we train the police officer and don't miss anything. So they are afraid to miss anything. They collect the whole house. In other words, they take the ceiling, take the wall, take the carpet, take the table.
A semi-truck.
A house mover. So you really counterproductive, take everything. So we have to unpack everything, reconstruct the whole scene, then study what's the significance of this piece of evidence. So it's so important to provide them training. That's why I say that good investigator or good forensic scientist, you have to have the.
All right, reconnect. Here we go. We're trying again.
The answer, what this answer means. And so important, we got all those abilities.
Okay, well, let me ask you about, for instance, you were asked to investigate the Kennedy assassination, back from 1963.
Right. No, 1963, I'm still a police captain in Taiwan. 1988, when Congress set up another new committee.
Right. I mean, that's when the crime took place, but you weren't there to investigate it.
Right. November 22nd, 1963. That's how Kennedy got shot.
Right. So what did they ask you to do when you went back for that?
Okay. So when 1998, when they asked me, that became a cold case. In other words, for so many years now, we don't have the original scene. So when Congress set up another committee asking me and Dr. Blackburn, two of us as a forensic advisor, forensic consultant, to reevaluate all the evidence crime scene, try to see whether or not new forensic technology, we can solve this unclear issue. When we look at the whole case, November 22nd, 1963, when Kennedy's limo just passed by Texas Book Deposit, on the 6th floor corner room, a shot was fired. That shot changed our history, also changed the world history. The bottom line issue is Lee Oswald the Langley assassin, or that's a political conspiracy. 48 years later, we still don't know. As a matter of fact, this year going to be 50 years anniversary. We're still debating, is Lee Oswald the Langley shooter, or that's a political conspiracy? So we did study all the evidence. I did went back to the scene, try to reconstruct. And however, a lot of original documentation is no longer there. Also, the crime scene process did not really reach the standard today. Of course, today, we cannot really use today's standard judge 1963. But however, that bullet, they did link to Lee Oswald's rifle. In addition, a partial thumbprint and a fingerprint was identified on the rifle. That's Lee Oswald's. So it's no problem Lee Oswald, in fact, was involved in the case. But whether or not have a second shooter, that's a separate story. So when we evaluate all the evidence, one of the piece evidence, that's Committee Exhibit 399, that's the so-called magic bullet. That's the bullet hit Kennedy in the back of the head, and the bullet travel forward and exits from the front of a Kennedy, right side of a head area. The bullet made a 90-degree angle turn, hit the Governor Connolly sitting in the middle seat, his arm, and then exits through his arm and wound up the bullet to the left side. Of course, is the bullet really hit two people or have a separate bullet? I say, why don't do DNA? If we come on two people's DNA on the bullet, and both Kennedy and Connolly, then we know that bullet in fact hit two people. Not one shot hit two people.
Now, so you're saying you did DNA then on the
FBI did the DNA, and the result later we look at that. That's why I say reconstruction become important. Found a lot of DNA, but those DNA, it's not Kennedy's, not Connally's. So how that happened? Turned out early days when they collect the bullet, procedure is clean the bullet, then do the striation comparison. Of course, once you clean the bullet, the original biological material gone.
Right.
Therefore, the original DNA is gone.
Right.
Subsequently, everybody touched the bullet, and everybody's DNA got out. So the new technology did not solve the issue of the whole case.
Oh, if we could only get a time machine and go back in time.
Yes.
Now, do you think personally that there was a conspiracy?
Well, as a forensic scientist, I never really speculate. In other words, every case I got to the scene, of course you have a gut feeling, right? But we shouldn't use our gut feeling to investigate the case. That's why I often lecture to seasoned homicide detective, I try to tell them, clear up your mind. Totally objective. Don't say, I have a feeling this is the guy, that must be the person. Then now you start only collect the evidence can prove that's the person. Any exculpatory evidence, you start overlooking. That's why a forensic scientist, I often suggest them, don't talk to the detective and say who is guilty, who is not. Just study the evidence. Let the evidence speak for itself. That's what the forensic scientist is supposed to do.
So you're supposed to be an aloof scientific observer, is that correct?
Oh, excellent. You, that's the right expression. I hope I can hold you.
Aloof scientific observer, right? No, you're right, and that's your training is correct, and you're correct in the fact that you cannot make these feelings. And I wanted to see how you'd respond to when I said, what do you think? Do you have a feeling? Do you have,
Many times, we examine the scientific evidence, we show report, and sometimes doesn't matter how fair we are, one side going to like us, the other side going to hate us. That's why a forensic scientist, we have to really have a broader shoulder, take the criticism.
Sure.
And because if police develop a suspect, send evidence to us, let's say we exonerate this suspect, and I'm sure detective going to say, hey, Bob, Dr. Lee, and maybe you make a little tiny mistake. Can you do it again? And of course, the person get the exonerate, they thank us. But at the same time, if we find the evidence linked to the suspect, you think the suspect going to say, thank you, Bob, here a fruit basket, thank you finding my fingerprint on this drug package, and to prove I'm the one handle that. Of course not.
Yeah, of course not.
That's why our job is knowing, and the media, of course, right away, quickly, they think somebody is guilty. So every night they talk, somebody must be guilty.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if our funding is inconsistent with their speculation, they think we don't know what we're talking about.
Right. Now, let me ask you, who asks you to do casework for you? The prosecution and defense? Do they both ask you for your help?
Yeah, both ask me. Early days, about 99% of my case is from the prosecution, police. When I was with the police department early days. And of course, later, in 1975, 79, we start reorganize the forensic services in Connecticut. We consolidating all the smaller laboratory ID unit into one state forensic laboratory to serve everybody. So with that time, we made a decision also serve the defense. Public defender's office can also submit the evidence because they are a state agency too. And our laboratory is funded by the state, therefore we should give both sides equal opportunity. Both sides can submit the evidence. Of course, after I retire now with University in New Haven now, this ratio changed. Probably I would say about 70% of the cases were submitted by the prosecution and police department, 30% of the cases submitted by the defense.
Oh, okay, so it's still more prosecution than defense, okay.
Yes.
Because I know even for us, many times when somebody asks me, well, who subpoenaed you? And I'm saying, well, I'm not sure. A lot of times it comes from the county attorney, but many times it's because we're requested by defense.
Of course, I was involved in a couple of high-profile cases. That's why a lot of people think my life is just doing high-profile cases. As a matter of fact, those are just a small fraction of the case. Mm-hmm. Most of the cases, day-to-day cases, news media don't even care about. as you know, that laboratory is so busy with so many small cases, but those victims also equally.
Right. Now, do you have
our help.
Do you have an opinion on like defense experts? And I know that at a time, sometimes you are a defense expert.
Yeah.
But do you have an opinion on
Yes.
defense experts as a whole?
Yes. Unfortunately, when we issue a report, same report, if the prosecution introduced the report, defense said we're biased. We're working for prosecution. The same report, if introduced by defense, prosecution going to say we're hired gun.
Right.
And actually the same result. Because this country, the judicial system, is an adversary system. It's not like a lot of other countries, forensic expert were court appointed. Like I testify in many other countries are court appointed because court ask us. And therefore both sides accept as an expert. But here, one side definitely try to nitpick at you, try to beat on you. You probably remember early days, we all work in a state laboratory. We're not supposed to take defense case. It's no. You cannot take defense case.
Right.
I probably one of the first laboratory open up. Our examiner should look at physical evidence. Don't take side that's a defense or prosecution. So in late 80s, we start testify for both sides. And of course now, today, after National Science Foundation Academy, there's a report a couple of years ago really point out an issue, say forensic scientists should be neutral, should testify for both prosecution and defense. And which in fact, most of the forensic scientists were neutral. However, this adversary system, if the real forensic scientist, you are not taking defense case, what the defense attorney going to do? They're going to hire some professor from somewhere or some so-called pseudo forensic scientists. They're really not forensic scientists.
Right.
Some professor have a high ethics standard. They go to meet the standard, call as it is. But many, they become a game for them. All right. So they just come up with some kind of procedure. Nobody ever heard of it. They can't go to court. So a lot of people say defense is a higher defense expert, a higher gun. Not really. Many defense experts are legitimate. So that's why I think all the forensic scientists work the field should allow them to do prosecution and defense case. This way will make our profession even better.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, because it's true that I get calls on occasion because somebody wants me to testify, and I'm in a sense prohibited in doing that. And then usually in retirement, then of course you can do it once you get out of the field. But you're right. I think it's true that it should be something that's done. Now, as you know, there are many laboratories now that must go through a process of accreditation.
Yes.
And I see, I know you were there too when things seem to be a lot easier than they are today. And it's a lot more work, requires a lot more people, a lot more paperwork. And so I see the benefits of it, but I also see the drawbacks of, the accreditation process. Do you have an opinion on accreditation?
Yes, and as a matter of fact, I was in our original accreditation team, and when that accreditation inspection program just started, we only had few inspectors. I forgot 5, 6 of us. In 1980s, we go around the 90s, we go around the country to inspect different laboratory, and of course today it's different. It's much better system. Except every time it's system, you have pro and con. It's a two-edged sword.
Yeah.
Of course, accreditation is an excellent program, but now I feel we are overdid it, and we spend more time on the paperwork.
I agree.
So laboratory scientists have to do so many tests, and before they can even to examine the actual physical evidence. So every day they're busy keep the paperwork going, and laboratory now just become a clinical laboratory or hospital laboratory. Is no longer a forensic laboratory. A forensic laboratory, we have to study the evidence, come up with an approach, and how can we solve this puzzle. But today, you cannot do that. Like during my time, every week, month, I try to see new procedure can helping our work. But today, we have to use the standard procedure. Nobody can vary from this standard procedure. In other words, nobody wants to do any original research anymore. So the research work basically fall into the university. The crime laboratory people actually have case question. If you allow them to do some original research, they can come up a better way to solve this crime. However, now they're so busy to record the case number and document everything, although it's computerized everything. But now they also keep hard copies plus a electronic copy. So the file getting bigger. When you, like recently I reviewed some cases, the file 3-4 bundles, but the inside doesn't contain any valuable information to solve cases.
I hear you, and that's been one of my complaints is that we're so buried in casework that all we can do is try to get cases out. We're backlogged, and I think it's the problem across the nation being backlogged with cases.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I see the pluses, but I see the minuses, and then there's also a reduction in workforce too that we have to deal with.
Yes, you're right, and of course, increased workload, reduction of the budget, everything. We face a major crisis in forensic field.
Yeah. So how are you going to fix that for all of us in the forensic field?
Well, if I have a magic wand, of course, that's a different story. And basically, we have to look at a four-pronged approach. All right. The first thing, automation, which really can reduce amount of paperwork. In other words, a piece of evidence, this documentation. If we can document and have less time spent on the documentation, then we can have more time to examine. Second approach, what I suggest is to bring the laboratory to the scene. If the forensic scientists, we all train them, they got to know how to do the crime scene analysis. When a case happens, the laboratory scientists, we can go with the detective and make a determination. Let's say a red color stain. If we can quickly determine that's not blood, then you don't have to cut the sample, collect the sample, seize the sample, label the sample, pack the sample. Laboratory, we don't have to document everything. Later issue one line, presumptive test, it's not that blood, okay? Mm-hmm. So which you can do at the scene. For example, drug cases, just like if you can send a drug chemist to the scene, right away, that's not drug. And then you don't have to collect that. Then you don't have to do all those quality control and quality documentation. You can cut the backlog. The third thing is, of course, we train detective and the scientists how to work together as a team. Although, this country, we over the year have a great improvement, this collaboration teamwork, but still have that little so-called turf problem. If we can get rid of this turf problem, can work better. The fourth thing, of course, that's our institute set up. We do a lot of so-called real time, and we say linkage to different police departments. For example, we set up a regional forensic response team. once a case happens, they can come to university. We have people work with them. And in our command center, the real time they can submit the crime scene photograph. We can evaluate and give them proper advice. We can tell them what tests to do, what to do, how to collect, how to document. And if it's a pattern evidence, they can real time submit the image to us. We can search our data bank. This way, you can eliminate a lot of potential issue and problem.
Well, I appreciate that. You do have the answers, that's for sure. And we've come to the end of our time, and time flies when we're having fun, and we've certainly had fun today.
Yeah, well, I really enjoyed it, Bob, talking to you, and wish you good luck. And also, I wish all your viewer, listener, have a good weekend.
Well, thank you very much. Dr. Henry Lee has been my guest tonight on CSI Iowa, and he has a wealth of knowledge. And when he gets to 125 years of age, I'm going to invite him back again so he can give us more information on all of his knowledge. So
Just
thank you.
call me anytime. The next time we talk some interesting cases.
Oh, yeah.
This time we are rushed and talk about few of forensic science. Next time we talk about a couple, for example, one case in Chicago, so-called Palatine chicken place, Bronx chicken murder. 7 people was gunned down. How we work with police and investigator took the case happened in 1993, year 2007, finally solved.
Well, I tell you, I would like that. I would like to do that. So we need to get together so you can send me some of those cases that we can talk about.
All right.
And we'll do more shows. How's that?
Wonderful.
All right. Thanks a lot, and have a good night yourself.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. So you've been watching CSI Iowa on Webcast One Live. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you sometime in the future. Good night.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
At the BrownellsPoliceStore.com, we specialize in a full line of duty gear for military, law enforcement, and security professionals. PoliceStore.com has a great selection of high-quality and dependable police supplies, all backed by Brownell's 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. The Brownells Training Group offers firearms training for military, police, professional security, and qualified citizens taught by professionals who are recognized for their knowledge and real experience. Check us out today at PoliceStore.com/CSI.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, listen, watch, chat. This is Webcast One Live. Programs on WebcastOneLive.com are brought to you in part by KDC Builders, building custom homes for how you live. KDC will take your dreams and turn them into reality. Go to our website, kdcbuilt.com, or call Hannah Inman at 515-975-9990. And Tom Coates and ConsumerCreditOfAmerica.com. Are you overwhelmed with mounted credit card debt and feel there's no way out? Well, there is. Call 1-800-955-5765 for Consumer Credit of America. That's ccofamerica.com.